Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Cardboard. As always, we've got our usual crew. I'm Brian. We've got John to my right, Corey to my near left, and Kaylor to my far left. Today, we are going to be reviewing Zombicide. Now, this game has a bunch of different variations, a bunch of different subsets, so we're going to keep things focused on Black Plague. So let's start off with the pros. John, I know you've got a pretty basic pro.
I do. Best part about this game, you're, spawning and killing zombies, and that's always a good time, so can't argue with that one. The game also has a cool cast of characters that you get to play as, and you can get as roleplay as you want, but at its core, I mean, you're killing zombies and trying to complete some objectives, and it's really fun.
What do you guys think? Do you like the zombie element?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite games. I mean, can't go wrong with killing zombies. I do like all the unique characters. The one thing is some definitely characters seem more OP with their special abilities than the other ones do. That's just my
It kind of helps balance things though too. I mean, if some abilities are a little bit weaker than other abilities and some are stronger. I mean, it is a cooperative game, so that's kind of nice. Obviously, you're working as a team. In a market that's flooded with zombie-themed games, this one definitely stands out a little bit, in my opinion, from the rest. You've got more of that medieval theme to it, which is very unique in the zombie genre. I know with the first iteration of Zombicide, you're either going around a mall or around a city and kind of more of that generic horror movie style type zombie game, which majority of the zombie games are like that.
Yeah.
So this one definitely stands out having that medieval theme.
And what I personally like about that medieval theme is some of the weapons, how that's unique.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to cast spells, you've got swords and axes, so things you typically wouldn't find in a mall.
Right.
That really adds a unique element to, we have to figure out how to best use these weapons. It's not like it's a pistol or a baseball bat, where we're comfortable with using those with all the myriad of zombie games we've played.
I'd say all the games have been pretty close. I've never felt like there's been a mission where we've just carried away and easily won. It's like, okay, we got to really think about this and kind of coordinate our final turns. And I think that's a really good aspect of the game, that it's not too easy, but it's also not extremely difficult at times. So.
Right.
So Corey, you mentioned about the teamwork element of it. Go into more detail about that.
Yeah, I think it feels very cooperative. There are a lot of cooperative games out there that don't feel as cooperative. You can. Some of them maybe suffer from having like an alpha gamer syndrome, where you've got one person who can really run the whole show. This is your best option here. Do it this way, otherwise we're going to lose. That sort of mentality. With this game, it definitely feels like it's a little bit more of a gray area on what exactly you were supposed to do at a certain given time. So I feel like this game, you really have to pull your heads together. Make decisions as a team. It does feel very cooperative. The theme really pours through too. It feels like it's really a struggle to survive. I mean, each round you're flipping over those zombie cards, and they're not letting up at all. I mean, those zombies are pouring out of every single doorway, every single street, and it really does feel like it's a push to survive.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Kaylor, do you feel like there is an opportunity for one person to take over the game, especially for those of us who aren't quite as intrinsically coordinated with what's going on?
Yes, once you get into the legendary weapons, they definitely can take over. Basically, a person with a legendary weapon can kind of take over the game. Really can spearhead the entire thing. The negatives of that is when you start leveling up, more zombies will spawn at every spawn point, so it becomes more crazy, more of a struggle. So you really try to level up with everybody to make it fair across the board.
That's true. Yeah.
So John, I know one of the things you had was talking about the legendary weapons that Kaylor mentioned.
Yep, and this is kind of a con. I mean, the legendary weapons are cool. You've got this Orcish Longbow and Inferno, and they're super powerful. The only downside is that they're the only two legendary weapons that spawn in these vaults, and it'd be kind of nice to have more of a variety there, get something more surprising than just know, okay, one of these is the crossbow and one's the fireball. So,
well, and especially when it gets to the Inferno, the fireball, whoever has that one is just head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yep.
And then I've gotten the impression that some of the other teammates get jealous of that. And then they feel like, all right, you have to go and do all the stuff, and then we're just going to sit here and open doors or wait for you to do it. And that takes away a little bit. But if there was a greater variety of legendary weapons, then it would spread things out a little bit. Or if there were weapons that were close to the legendary. But those two weapons are just far and away so much better.
Powerful.
The one negative about the fireball especially is if you've got a teammate in with a room with zombies, they will get damaged too. So you have to be very mindful where you
Could
use
possibly
it.
get
Yes.
damage, yeah.
Unless you're the one with the fireball. Then you don't have to worry about it so much.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of off that too, a couple of my neutral points. It's obviously an American-style game where you've got a lot of dice rolling. So if a lot of dice rolling and a little bit of that luck side of it with the dice rolling turns you off a little bit, that could be an issue. It's not too big a deal. I mean, when you're getting into the game, you know kind of what it's going to be. You know, you're gonna level up and get different upgrades and different weapons. Like you guys said, with the two legendary weapons, it could pull the team apart a little bit because the other players are like, how come I don't get something that cool to use? But that was one of my neutral points is you know, a little bit of that luck-driven dice rolling. You need to expect that.
So John, what's another one of your cons for this game?
My cons for this game is I wish that the character sheets were a little more varied in their traits. I mean, each character starts out with their own unique ability at the beginning, but as you level up, it's kind of, oh, you get an action, you get this, and it's pretty similar. It'd be nice to see, like, just more variability there. I mean, and make the characters more unique, I feel. I mean, they do have some other powerful abilities they get later on, but you don't always get to see those in action. So
yeah, to Wayne here, my biggest con is, and this is with most cooperative games, it seems like that when everybody gets to map out all their turns and work slowly to coordinate, then it doesn't have the frantic nature of real time, and where you don't know or can't choose where everybody's going. So, I mean, this is just cooperative games in general, but if there's some sort of sense of urgency or a time limit, or you can only communicate to some extent with everybody, then it would create a more frantic game instead of essentially one person or two people really having the vision for it and everybody else just kind of moving along and then rolling their own dice.
Right.
I feel like that's the biggest con in my mind, because I could easily just mentally check out if I'm not one of the ones that's deep in the flow of the game. And I just know that, Corey, you're going to pick up the slack and you're going to figure out where we go, and all right, I'm just going to roll these dice.
Yeah, well, and to go off of that too, I'm usually the player who does suffer from my mind kind of detaching from the game itself overall. I'm usually the guy who's like, you know, kind of letting everybody kind of do their own thing, and I just kind of sit back and watch it all unfold. One of my cons too, the game could feel a little lengthy with certain scenarios if you do mentally check out early, especially with those two legendary weapons that we were talking about. If they get them early, if the two other guys get them early, and you're sitting there like, well, I'm not as powerful, they're going to do the majority of the work, what am I good for? You know, you're just kind of doing your own thing. So the game could feel a little lengthy if you run into that scenario.
Yeah, I guess since I'm one of the ones that usually ends up with the Inferno, I don't have that issue. But I feel like if the other two weapons, if the two legendary weapons went to some of you guys, I'd just go Leroy Jenkins on it. Can we open up doors like crazy? We're going to see what's inside.
Right.
So, to kind of give the other side of this replayability, I've oftentimes found that a lot of these missions are pretty formulaic, and there's not quite as much story where it's, okay, we gotta break open these doors and turn over these tokens to see what type of person there is. Oh no, we have to turn over these tokens to see what's in the treasure chest. So it just, for me, it seems like that even though the stories that they have are different, it's very formulaic in what's going on, that you don't have to do a lot of different things. So it's different than campaign type of games where it is very different what you're trying to do. So you just point me in the right direction and tell me how to flip over the token, and I'm good to go. And if,
they could have been a little more creative with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Probably. So we've talked about thematic intensity. This is on the highest possible scale. I don't know if we need to go into much detail. It is
about Zombicide. You kill zombies.
And each one of these expansions are different seasons, they call them. It's very specific how it is different. But
the only way this game could even become deeper or more thematic is adding more of that storyline element that you guys were touching up on. But other than that, this game is just oozing with theme.
Yeah.
Completely. So.
Yeah, and each one of the different sets, it is a much different game.
Yep.
So it's not like it's very similar. You just change around some of the names and some of the nouns, like it's a Mad Lib.
Yeah. None of the theme topic. I mean, the zombies play how you expect them. You open a door, and that generates noise, which either is going to cause zombies to spawn and move towards you, or once you open a door, I mean, you have zombies popping up in the building that you didn't know were there. So I think that aspect is pretty cool.
And the different kinds of zombies too is very thematic. You've got walkers, you've got runners, you've got the fatties, which are harder to kill. You've got the abomination, which is in this game is one of my cons with the abomination is there's only one way to kill it. You've got to put down the dragon bile and light it on fire and make sure that the abomination's in the square that the fire erupts in to kill it. But I know with the expansion they take care of that with some stronger weapons. But I mean, and then you've got the necromancer, which is real cool too. So they've got a variety of zombies. It's not like just a generic zombie game where you've got these walkers walking around and that's the only thing. This game really adds to that.
Yep. Corey, what do you think is the balance between skill and luck in this game?
I think it's pretty mid on the luck side, pretty mid to high level luck. Not that there's not any skill to the game at all. I know you're working cooperatively. I throw this puzzle word around a lot, but it is kind of like you're figuring out and trying to anticipate where the zombies are heaviest and trying to take care of, almost like it's a building erupting in fire. It's like, oh, we've got an issue in this room here, you got to go take care of it because the fire's getting too intense, and then, oh, now you got to run back to this room and take care of that fire. And it just kind of seems like you're more of taking care of the heaviest issues or the most intense issues while doing these exploring the tokens and doing your overall main mission. So definitely probably mid to high on more of the luck side, but it doesn't really take away from the fun if you know what to expect.
John, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think he hit it pretty good. I mean, it's right in the middle there. I mean, you've got your luck with your dice rolls for rolling to see if you hit with your weapons or trying to open a door. I mean, you'll have turns where luck kind of screws you and you're trying to break open a door and you got your 3 actions and you try to break it open with all 3 and you miss with your axe, and it just makes kind of no sense. And it detracts a little bit when that happens, but I don't know. That's, I guess, what happens.
That's dice rolling.
Around. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
All right, what do we think is the rating 1 to 10? Let's start at Killer and work our way down.
I gave this a 9, like I said before. This is one of my favorite games to play. Just nice to pick up and kill some zombies and feel good about it.
Scratch that killing zombies itch.
Right.
Yeah. I'm at a 7 out of 10. I still really enjoy the game. The reason for the 7 and not a little bit higher is just I tend to lean a little more toward, or a little more away from the American style overall genre of games with the dice rolling. So luck turns me off a little more than the average person. But it is a lot of fun. You know, I like to pick up the game a lot and play. If people ask me to play it, I'll for sure say yes. It's not like I'm deterred from it at all, but yeah, I'm definitely a solid 7.
Okay, I'm going to go a little lower on this. I would say it's about a 5 for me. The game is expensive, even just this one iteration. It is easy, at least in my mind, for it to be very formulaic. The theme is great, I love that, but in terms of what I uniquely do, my character's unique abilities, it just doesn't really grab me. But like Corey said, somebody wants to play it, I'm definitely in, but I'm not ever going to be the one to suggest that game, and I'm totally fine with that. John, your rating?
I'm sitting at an 8. I mean, like I said, it's good. I like the American games. I like rolling dice. Get to kill zombies, that's always fun, and I just like the characters and the RPG elements. I mean, it's kind of unique, so.
All right. So for the team here at Talking Cardboard, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it is @TalkingCardboard. You can definitely do that. Otherwise, for the team here, Thank you for watching our video. And remember, the 5-second rule does not work for babies. Take care.